Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a sponsored video, but today I'm going to talk about the Oaks solar generator and all the different sizes. Reason being is that in the last couple of weeks, I've received a few emails from what I assume to be new community members to the Alaska Prepper channel asking me, AP, what size solar generator do I need and what can they power? Well, since I've already reviewed every one of the Oaks solar generators, all the way from the Mighty Mouse, the 600, the 1200, the 1800, and what I like to call the Beast, the 2400, I figured that I'd take this opportunity to go ahead and share with you what size generators I use and for what. But most importantly, to share with you something that I use in order to determine, hey, how much wattage am I going to need in order to power this, and what size generator would fit that wattage consumption. But ladies and gentlemen, let me cover this really quick before I start on these solar generators. I believe that before you get a solar generator, first and foremost, you should have a gas-powered generator, be it gasoline, be it propane, diesel, whatever kind of fuel it is that you can get for that solar generator and that you can put away and stock it up for a while, enough so that it can last you a period of time that you're comfortable with. Now, I understand that gas generators, and I'm going to call them gas generators, but you know what I mean, dual fuel, tri-fuel, whatever kind of fuel it is they use. I do understand that these generators, they are finite in their functionality. Meaning what? Meaning that they will only run as long as you have fuel for them. However, you have control over what you can do during the time that you are using that generator. And let me explain it in a better way. Let's say, for example, that you have a power outage. And let's say that it's going to be a long-term power outage. You're going to be out of power for a month, right? But you only have maybe a week's worth of gasoline in order to power your generator that's going to power whatever appliances you need that are critical to running your household. Well, yes, you're only going to have a week's worth. It gives you time to. So after a week, you're going to be out of fuel. But this is what it does for you, ladies and gentlemen. It gives you time to think during normal times. It gives you time to not do knee-jerk reactions and do something out of stress that maybe you wouldn't have done during normal times. So, for example, let's say that the power goes out, and I know that it's going to be out for a month. I am going to start with my solar generators, just like I always do, because I feel that a solar generator is a great complement to a gas generator. That's why I've always championed getting a gas generator first and foremost, and then complementing that gas generator with a solar generator. And then once I see that my solar generators are dropping like below 50% of what they have stored in energy, then I go ahead and I turn to my gas generator. Why is that? Because while my gas generator is running my house, I can power up my solar generators. And then I know that I can make it through another 6 to 12 hours on just solar generated power, with it only having costed me about 4 to 5 hours to charge them all up with my big generator. I hope you understand where I'm coming from. That's why I say that they complement each other very well. And that's why I say also always get, in my opinion, of course, ladies and gentlemen, always get a gas generator first. I understand that some people cannot, because maybe they live in an apartment, or maybe the area that they live in, maybe they have HOA rules or whatever codes there may be in the area. Maybe not. But if you can't get a gas generator because of where you live, then I definitely recommend that you get a solar generator. It gives you time to continue to run your house going to power and then your home down forever and think. But it gives you time to think. What is my next step? It gives you time to continue to run your house and then sit down and think reasonably, what is my next step? Right now, it's negative 20 degrees outside. If I didn't have a generator or a solar generator, what am I going to do? I need electricity in order to power the heater that provides heat to my home. Well, right now, yesterday, for example, we lost power for about half an hour, right? Not that long. But yesterday, when we lost power, I wasn't worried. I'm like, oh, wow, we lost power. Why wasn't I worried? Because automatically, my heater switched over to generator power automatically. The heater downstairs that I have that powers the energy that's needed down there in order to keep my water and my utilities from freezing, it automatically clicks on to a solar generator power. So I don't have to worry about it. And that's where I'm coming from. I don't have to rush. I don't have to panic. And that is what a generator, be it a solar generator or a gas generator, does for you. It keeps you from having to panic and make knee-jerk reactions that would maybe cost you down the line, instead of being able to allow you to sit down and say, okay, I know that we have only a week's worth of gasoline. What are we going to do when that gasoline runs out? A lot of people ask me, well, do solar generators, will they make it through an EMP? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know. I really don't. If you're that worried about it, then maybe you should take your generator or solar generator, maybe build some kind of a cage, where a Faraday cage, build a Faraday cage where it's been said that it will keep them safe from an EMP. It's all about probabilities, right? I would not shy away from getting a generator or a solar generator of any kind because I think we're going to have an EMP. Because ask yourself this question. Just look back the last couple of years. How many power outages that were big power outages have occurred just here in the United States, where they lasted a week or two, but the power came back? And how many EMPs have we had? How many power outages have we had in our lifetimes, just here in the United States? And how many EMPs have we had in our lifetimes? Well, a major coronal, and when I say EMP, I mean like a coronal mass ejection. I don't mean like an attack from another country. So the last major coronal mass ejection that actually engulfed the Earth and created a huge EMP upon the Earth's surface was back in 1859, which was called the Carrington event. What are the probabilities that that's going to happen in our lifetime? I personally believe that the probabilities are pretty high because of cycles, right? This is a cycle, and the Earth was actually missed by just like 2 or 3 weeks by a huge EMP or coronal mass ejection that was spewed out by the sun that was way bigger than that which occurred in 1859. I hope I didn't say 1959 the first time. So it's all about probabilities. But what is the probability that you're going to have a power outage within the next year? It's probably a lot higher than the probabilities of having an EMP or a coronal mass ejection engulf the Earth. So I don't think that an EMP or a coronal mass ejection should be something that someone uses as a reason not to get backup for your home in order to power your electric or electronic devices. Now, let me go ahead and show you every one of the solar generators from OPS that I've reviewed, starting from what I like to call the Mighty Mouse. All right, there's the Mighty Mouse. There's the OPS 600, right? And this is a great little solar generator, but this is not a solar generator that you're going to run your house with, right? This is a solar generator that I use to run like personal devices. You can run a TV off of this if you want it for entertainment. You can use a CPAP on this. You can run an air filtration system. You can hook up your Wi-Fi to this. You can charge your phones, your tablets, your computers, things like that. Remember, if you look back in the last few seconds, I did not mention a refrigerator. I did not mention a freezer. I did not mention a water heater. I did not mention a water pump. Why? Because that's not what this is made for. Each one has its place. Now, this little solar generator can probably run a small refrigerator, like one of those dormitory refrigerators. It will probably run that, but in all actuality, I really wouldn't recommend it. Why? Because it's going to use up the power a lot faster. This is something that I would consider for powering like personal devices and things that I just spoke about. So that's what I would use this for. And before I continue, let me show you a tool that I've shown before that is perfect for you to be able to determine what size generator or solar generator you would need to power your essential devices. Now, this here is a watt meter, and this is a very simple device. It's like 20 bucks on Amazon, and all this does is it tells you how many watts whatever device you plug into it is consuming at that time. And it's very simple. You just plug this into your wall outlet. You can even plug it into a solar generator and it will still work. And once you plug in your appliance or whatever it is that you want to know how many watts it's consuming, you plug it in here, it automatically turns on. And it shows you how many watts that item is consuming. So if you're on the lookout for a solar generator or a generator that is going to power your essential devices, you get one of these. Great investment, $20. That's what it was when I purchased it. And there's many different kinds as well. You get one of these, and let's say, for example, what is the device in my home or appliance in my home that I need the most, especially during this time of year? It is my Toyo stove. It is the burner or the heater that keeps my house warm. So I would use this, hook it up to the wall, and then I would determine by just looking at the meter up here, all right, looking at this LCD screen, what is the highest wattage consumption that appliance uses at any one time. And for my Toyo stove, it happens to be about 380 or so watts. So I just rounded up to 400 watts. So if I was looking for a solar generator that was going to power just my heater, my Toyo stove, I would want something that's at least 400 watts continuous. But my rule of thumb is to use something that's 1.5 times the wattage that you need. So I would want something that's at least 600 watts continuous. So this here would actually work to power my Toyo stove, my house heater, to continue to work in a power outage because it's 600 watts and my Toyo stove's top rated wattage usage is about 400 watts. That is what I would do. Now, if you want to get a solar generator that's a little bit bigger, that can power more than one appliance or one device at a time, all you do is do the same thing with each appliance that you want, and you add up those wattage. So for example, let's say that I wanted a solar generator that was going to power my Toyo heater, my refrigerator, and my freezer. My Toyo heater is 400 watts. All right. My refrigerator is 600 watts. It's really about 400, but we went ahead and added about a couple hundred for the surge, 600 watts. And then my freezer, about the same. So we have 1200 watts. We have 1600 watts. When I take that 1600 watts and I apply to it my rule of thumbs, this is not anything that came from literature from anywhere. My rule of thumb, 600 watts plus half of that is 2400 watts. So what I would get if I wanted to power those three appliances at the same time for a certain period of time, what I would get is this guy right here, the beast, the 2400, because it can provide 2400 watts of continuous power, and it has, I believe it's like 4000 watt surge. That is what you do, ladies and gentlemen. It's very simple. It's not rocket science. And I hope that I'm making it simple enough for you to understand so that you can be confident that when you make a purchase, whatever it is, that you know you're purchasing what it is that you need for your own specifications at your home. Now, talking about the 1200 here, this is actually the very first OPS solar generator that I ever reviewed. This 1200, I believe, would be a perfect solar generator to do like one appliance. It can do two. It can do like my refrigerator, my freezer, or it can do my refrigerator and my Toyo stove. It can do two. But the thing is you have to remember how long do you want it to power it for. So this right here, the 1200, I believe it has just shy of 1000 watt hours, and it will do 1200 watts of continuous power. If I hook this thing up right here to my refrigerator and I shut my refrigerator off, let's say every couple of hours for an hour, this thing will easily last 12 to 16 hours. This is what I consider an entry size solar generator because it can power a couple of things, actually more than a couple, but it only has a 1000 watt hour battery in it. And by the way, all of the OPS brand solar generators, they come with LiFePO 4 batteries, which are really the best batteries in the market. Anything that's not LiFePO 4, which is lithium iron phosphate, anything that's not lithium iron phosphate, you're going to notice that it's still going to be able to power whatever you need. However, the life of the battery is not going to last as long. And then going to the 1800, same thing. I would use it to power one or two appliances or one appliance for an extended number of hours. It's really up to you how many hours you want to power something for and then determine how big of a solar generator you need. There's solar generators out in the market that are a lot bigger than the 2400. But for an entry-level solar generator, I think these are all good for entry levels. Why? Because the price is right, in my opinion. It's good quality. And it powers almost everything that you need it to power. Let me tell you everything that this 2400 right here can do. That 2400 can power my refrigerator, can power my freezer, can power my Toyo stove if I needed to, but I already have a backup for that. It can power my water pump, which uses about 1300 watts surge. It can power an air compressor. I've done videos where I show you that it can power tools outside if you need to take it outside to do power tools if you're cutting wood or anything like that. This thing right here is pretty much good for anything in the house, with the exception, I would never try to power my water heater with this, although it would power my water heater because I have a small water heater that's only 1500 watts. However, if the power goes out, having hot water is the last of my worries, right? So I would not use or consume energy in powering hot water if I had no power. I would rather divert that energy to my refrigerator, to my freezer, to my Toyo stove, etc. So if you want something that can power, things that are high wattage, this is the best one to get. That's why I call it the Beast. Another thing that this cannot power in your home is going to be a dryer. If you have an electric dryer, there's no way that this is going to power it. I do believe that electric dryers are like 3,500 watts or more, right? So they require about 30 amps or more. So I would never use that. But you have to use common sense when you're picking out your solar generator. What is it that you need it to power? And remember that during a crisis, you want to power those things that are essential to you. I can't tell you what those things are because we all live in different places around the world, around the country. And what is essential to me, for example, like heat in the winter, may not be essential to you. You may live in a state where you need air conditioning, and this can power an air conditioner as well. If you have a cold room, like let's say you live in Arizona or something like that, and it gets really hot down there and you lose electricity. If you have a cold room, which is the opposite of what I would have here in Alaska, a hot room. If you have a cold room, a 5,000 watt air conditioner could pretty much keep a small room nice and cool. And you can use that as a cool room to go into once it gets too hot in other places in your home. Same thing with here in Alaska. I have a hot room, which means that if the power goes out and I am in dire straits and I need to conserve energy, conserve fuel, I will go to a small room, seal it off, and heat that small room up, not using up too much electricity or using up too much fuel. That way we can survive the crisis, depending on how long it is. So it really all depends, ladies and gentlemen, on what you want to power, how much you want to power, for how long you want to power, what size solar generator you get. In my opinion, I would get the one that's the biggest that I can afford. That's what I would get. I would get the biggest that I can afford because the more that you can power with it for longer, the better. So having said that, I'm going to go ahead and close it off. This video probably went a little bit too long anyways, but I wanted to explain to you in detail, or at least my explanation of why it is that it's important to have a generator, why it is that a solar generator complements a gas generator, why it is that you should get a gas generator first before you get a solar generator, and what size solar generator should you get for the applications that you need to put it through. And like I said, it's really all up to you. Depends on where you live. All right. So having said that, I hope that you have a great day. I am doing a live stream later on today, and it's very important. So I hope to see you all there. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.